Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simply Spooky with myself and Jamie. We're very keen this week because we've got on we started just before 8 o'clock, so that's good. So if there's anybody out there, I can see one person is out there at the moment. I hope we get more than that. If you could just put a hi, or a little comment, or even a wave, an emoji, just put it in the StreamYard or put it into the chat, please, or the comments, and then we'll know that you can see us. So we're just waiting for a couple of other people to come on, and then this evening we're gonna talk about the Phillip Experiment, which is something that's interested me for quite some time, and I've looked into it. I've meant to look into it for years, and I've sort of read about it and watched various programs on it, and recently I watched the actual footage itself of it, and to be honest with you, I wasn't that impressed. So, the Phillip Experiment. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to come in, see if we can get any more in at the moment. Hi, you William. I hope you're well. I hope you're good, William. Just going to wait for another couple if we can, and then we're going to chat. How are you anyway, Jamie? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I've been all right. I've done my back in, as you know.
You have, haven't you? You've done it. How are you feeling now? You feeling a bit better?
Yeah, but yeah, took a bit of painkillers. I'm all right. It's all right. Just got a brace on. I'm fine.
Good.
Man it out.
Right. So we've got 4 watching. So as I was explaining earlier, we're going to talk about something tonight called the Phillip Experiment. It's something that piqued my interest for quite a few years, and I've watched or read various articles on it. And hi, Claire. Hi, Lois. Hope you're well.
Hi, Lois.
And I've read various articles on it. And hi, Kerry.
Hi, Kerry.
Oh, bless you, Lois. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, I've read various articles on it, and it's one of those things that piqued my interest. And recently, I just sat down to watch a lot of the actual video footage that was recorded at the time. It was the actual footage of the experiment. So the Phillip Experiment, for those out there that maybe you do know about it, maybe you don't, I don't know. It was sort of late 60s, early 70s, probably more early 70s. And it was by a husband and wife team. He was a parapsychologist. He was called George Owen, and his wife was called Iris. And they emigrated to Canada. And bearing in mind, this guy was a fully fledged parapsychologist. There you go. Excellent. And they wanted to set up an experiment where you could bring a thought form into being. And they tried to do that with a spirit. So what they did, their team was consisted of just normal, everyday, ordinary folk, normal, everyday, ordinary people. And the idea behind it was that they would give a backstory to this spirit. So they would give a prehistory to it. Totally fabricated, totally made up. And the backstory was that it was a nobleman called Philip. He lived in a castle in England. He was married to a woman, but he fell in love with another woman who was a gypsy that he'd seen by the side of the road. He fell in love with her. He brought her home, and he hid her in the gatehouse to the castle. But his wife found out, and subsequently, at that time, it was around about the time of the Witchfinder General, and it was around about the time of the witch trials. And his wife accused her of being a witch. Bear in mind, this is all fabricated. It's all out of somebody's imagination. And she had her executed, but he couldn't say anything at the time because he was a nobleman, so he didn't want to go down that route, didn't want to get involved in it. But subsequently, he hanged himself. Or no, he didn't hang himself. I beg your pardon. He threw himself from the battlements of the turret of the castle, and his body was found later on below. So that was the story they came up with for this imaginary spirit. And for the first year, they tried to make communication with this imaginary spirit, this thought form that they wanted to bring into existence. And they didn't really get much, if anything, to be honest with you. But the second year, once they relaxed and they kind of, the way that they expressed it is that they became more like children. They became more open to it, became less judgmental of it, and just went along with it and just had fun with it. And as soon as they did that, they started getting tappings in the table. And I think it was about 5 or 6 tables that the spirit had broken by doing table tipping. But they said that the problem that I've got with it is that they said that it was done under laboratory conditions. Well, the footage that I'd seen was done in their house, so that's not really what I would consider to be laboratory conditions. So it kind of makes me a bit
wary.
skeptical about the whole thing, to be honest with you. As I said to people today, I said to you, Jamie, didn't I? And I said to
Mate.
April, the thing is that I've seen better parlor tricks. So I'm always skeptical about that type of evidence, particularly if I'm not there. And the footage that I saw of it today, they were doing the experiment again, and they were doing it at a studio, and it just seemed a little bit contrived. It seemed a little bit, I don't know. It was more like they were wishing that it was happening rather than actually happening. But that's not to say that there wasn't knocking coming from the table, and the knocking, like is always the case with spirit knocking, it tends to come from inside the object, and then the knocking started happening around the property that are in on the walls and what have you. So they built up this story. They built up this story, this image of this pretend spirit and this thought form, and then they brought it into existence. Now, obviously, there's lots of books written today about envisage something and you can bring it into the real world. If you think the basis of the world is not material as such, but it's just everything that we see or perceive as just a thought form, it certainly isn't. Materialism and reality isn't what we perceive it to be. We know that for a fact, don't we? But I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. What do you think about it, Jay?
I don't know. Like, I'm probably the same as you, that I'm a bit skeptical.
70s and 70s, clear.
Because I don't probably understand it. That's probably why. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a hard one, really. Until you're actually there or doing an investigation on it, then I think it's unexplainable, isn't it? People.
Thank you, Kerry. Bless you.
People can go, yeah, we've done it. We've done this. We've done that.
Manifestation, clear. Yeah.
But, I don't know.
See, the problem I've got with it as well is that if it was such a successful experiment, then why hasn't it been replicated in proper laboratory conditions?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I did try and buy a book on it. There was one book written on it in 1976. But if you want to buy that book,
was you born then?
Book, you're looking at 300 quid. 300 quid for a book.
Wow.
But it is interesting. Yeah, it is manifestation. So it's bringing thought forms into existence.
Yeah.
Now, I know my mum used to say, my mum was a nurse and she worked in hospitals for many years. And she used to always have this thing that she believed that if you thought you were going to get ill, or you got ill, but then you made more of it than you could do, then you could kind of bring it onto you. You
bring it onto yourself.
Into you. And she used to be saying, like, positive thought is a great thing, and positive thought really has done a lot for a lot of people that have been, really ill. It's pulled them around. And I mean, she was pretty much on the ball with stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know about thought forms.
It's a hard one, isn't it, really?
It's a hard one because I'm only going on that experiment, and that experiment didn't look very credible to me. Hi, Chantal. I hope you're doing well over there in South Africa. Yeah, and I think that's the problem I have. That it was one experiment. It didn't look very credible. It didn't look as though it was done under laboratory conditions, and it leaves itself open to all sorts of skullduggery and all sorts of tricks and what have you. So, yeah, but it's an interesting thought, and I would have thought that had it have been as successful as they said it was, then it would have been replicated time and time again. It would have given people a lot of answers.
Yeah, so I think all I can.
Oh, so William says, I read a little on the Phillip Experiment. It does sound as though they allegedly talk to fictionalized ghosts or what believed to be ghosts. This goes to the heart of a lot of the ghost group claim that allegedly made contact with, say, Elvis. Yeah, no, not being Elvis. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. Definitely. It did make me consider, was it a case of that they'd thought this thought form up, but all of a sudden the real spirit had jumped in there and thought, well, I can have some fun with this.
Yeah.
You know, I could really go with this.
Well, how Alex kind of explained it is like playing with a Ouija board, isn't it?
Chantel, we wonder the same thing, love. We're starting to wonder when she's coming back. We think she's buggered off and left us.
What a cheek! I think we're doing all right, son.
Yeah, and do you know what, Clea? I don't know enough about it. I'm sure that, you know, it sounds very credible that people do these type of things. And I know that positive thought is definitely, I mean, my mum used to say, you know, and this was going back in the 70s when I was a kid, she used to always say that positive thought was a great thing before all these self-help books came out.
Yeah.
And she used to say you can make yourself ill, but you can make yourself well again. Because
Yeah, exactly.
the human mind, the soul, the spirit, whatever it is, in the ether. Oh, there you go. There you go, Chantel. You have a word with her. Look, she's come here, Chantel. This is Mother. This is Viv. Have a word with her after she's come here. Viv, Chantel wants to know when you're coming back. Apparently, we're just not good enough for her. Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess that you're, you know,
yeah,
that whatever it is, spirit, energy, whatever it is, knows what you need. The universe probably knows what you need and what you don't need, what you can do with and what you can do without. But yeah, I did find it a very interesting.
we love
thanks,
you,
Viv. She won't be saying that when she watches back all the other programs.
When are you coming back?
Yeah, she's back Wednesday week, today week. So,
mate, we've got it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you think? I mean, I'm not too sure.
Like I said, I think it's like Ouija board stuff. That's how I've pictured it. You know, it's coming through a table, but a Ouija board obviously comes through a board, doesn't it?
I'll give you that. We're not pretty faces.
But yeah, I don't know. It's quite, like you say, it's quite a hard one because it needs to be done, if you know what I mean, to rectify. Oh yeah, that's done okay.
Yeah, and I'd have thought if it was as successful as they said it was, then it would have been replicated.
Yeah.
I would have
me, you and Viv would be doing it when we go out.
We'd be jumping all over the place, yeah. But I think it would have been done by. I mean, he was a parapsychologist. The guy was credible, you know.
Oh, okay.
George Owen was a bona fide parapsychologist.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if his wife was, but obviously she knew a lot about it because she worked closely with him. So it's just that I'd like to have seen it done in more clinical conditions in the laboratory and just to see what came about, you know. And the thing is as well, they chose the group of people that were involved in it, and they were ordinary people, which is fine. Are you all right there?
Yeah, I'm just getting comfortable.
You look like you're crapping yourself.
Bigfoot, yeah.
I'll manifest one over here, Viv. We could do one over here. So
it looks good.
Apparently we're meant to have them.
It does look good.
Oh, favourites.
Yeah, exactly. We know what side your bread's buttered, love, don't we?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, who knows? But I would like to have seen more work done on it. And that's the same with a lot of experiments, you know. I mean, the skull experiment was another one, which was done in the sort of 70s, wasn't it?
What's that one? Sorry,
the skull experiment. It was done in a place called Skull in England, and it was an experiment where these mediums went down into a cellar of a house, and they got ghost pictures that had manifested on the old film rolls, stuff like that, and which was quite interesting in itself. But again, not done under. It's not done in the conditions are not clinical enough in my liking.
It's not enough.
These things are open. Anything can. You know what it's like. You know, I've seen some of the most amazing conjurers in the world. You know, magicians, and if they can pull off some of the things that they can,
it was crazy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, exactly. The Ouija board. It's an old favourite, isn't it? It's an old.
I've done it once and it never worked.
The Ouija board. I'm not a big advocate of the Ouija. I mean, there was one situation where it was me and Viv, and the bloody planchette was moving on its own. It was actually moving on its own.
Yeah.
And Viv said to me, "Look down, open your eyes and look down." And I looked down, and I thought, because I thought it was Viv that was moving it,
Well, yeah.
and she thought it was me. Well, I think she knew, but I looked. I didn't know. I wasn't accusing her of moving it, but I didn't know whether it was like an involuntary action or what have you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But when I looked down, it was moving on its own, which was
Yeah.
quite freaky. But who knows? But there's lots of experiments out there that I would like to see replicated, and that's probably one of them. But as for it being
one of them, yeah,
as for it being credible, I can't really say. I sit on the fence with a lot of stuff. I should be a pigeon.
I'll shoot you.
Do you know what? I would, Kerry, and I'd like to, but I would like to have it done with parapsychologists. I'd like them to oversee it and monitor it and see, because you have to try. I mean, there was probably involved in this experiment was 8 people, and even though they were friendly with them and they knew them, you have to trust those people that you're working with implicitly. You have down to the fine detail, because it might only take one of those people, and it could throw the whole experience off or the whole experiment off.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting. Yeah, I've had one experience with a Ouija board, to be fair, and that was it. But apart from that, as somebody said to me, the only way a Ouija board's going to hurt you is if somebody picks it up and hits you down the back of the head with it. And I thought
there's one way in it.
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's
yeah.
But yeah, these things are subjects in themselves.
But
yeah, that was it, really. I mean, do you guys out there, do you believe in manifestation? Do you believe in bringing thought forms into reality, or whatever we perceive reality to be? Because reality, at the end of the day, isn't reality, is it? It's not. I'm getting a bit too philosophical here now. I'm going to confuse myself in a minute. So
that's not hard, is it?
It's not. It's not. Yeah. Oh, Viv does. But yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting.
I know where I'd like to be at the moment.
You know what?
I know I'd like to be in Bigfoot country.
Would you like to be in Bigfoot country?
Oregon, yeah. Go and see the big fella.
I'd like to be in Bigfoot country now after being insulted by Chantal.
Yeah, I know. It's me too. That's why I said it. Then he wouldn't have had us on.
Yeah.
But no, it's a
tricky
one, really.
It is. I mean, I don't know. I've been trying to manifest.
I think, like you said, you
wallet,
can talk about it and you can do the experiment, but you need the proof.
That's the thing.
That is the big people persuading people that it works. It's great.
That's the thing. And I would have thought that if there was a bona fide bit of credibility to it, then scientists would have run with it, and that would have been proof enough.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
no, definitely. I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. But unfortunately, some people do. Some people do believe it's only just us, and it's clearly not. I mean, you've only got to look at the fabric of reality.
Yeah, exactly.
When people say to me, "Oh, you believe in these things, and it's just incredible," but I don't think. I say, well, you get up in the morning, you look out your window, you see the sun come up, you see it set, you see it go down, you see the moon, you see the stars, you look at your life, you look at the people around you. Nothing's more incredible than that.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, Chantal. I think we can convince ourselves. It's part of the. It's sort of hardwired into us, isn't it? It's part and parcel of our survival instinct. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Movies and all of that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's intent, isn't it? It's intent. I mean, witchcraft is very much the idea of intent, you know. And I think that it is. It is the power of manifestation. Is it the power of bringing things into your life? And of course, the also what is it? Isn't it the what is it with witchcraft that if you cast a negative spell on
Negative
somebody,
thoughts, isn't it?
comes back 3 times or something,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It's the power of 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is obviously a very, very sort of sacred and magic number. But yeah, I believe that it is the power of manifestation. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, when you generally feel better about things and you've got a positive slant on life, then you will see everything in a positive light, won't you? You
Yeah.
know, whether it's negative or not, you'll still perceive it to be
But like you said
something that's
earlier, if you
positive.
go round with a negative thought, it's going to be a horrible way, like a day, a life, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, Kerry, I've been in some properties that have got a life. They seem to have a life of their own. You know, they seem to. No. Oh no, I'm not a born witch at all. No,
You've got to dunk you 3 times, Dan, if you drown.
I'm something, William, but I'm not a born witch. Yeah, exactly, Terry. Exactly. I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's a trade off, isn't it? It's not a deal, but it's just a trade off. It's just it's a bargaining thing, isn't it? But I'd like to manifest sort of £10 billion into my bank account, but it's never going to happen, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah.
But then maybe I'm thinking negative, and that's why it's not.
No.
Well, I do confuse myself. I'm a puzzle wrapped up in an enigma, wrapped up in chip paper. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, what's this? Simply spooky, I think it's like. Yeah, yeah. And it's the same with a lot of readings as well that people get from some mediums. It's very clever. It's
Yeah, it's all interlinked, isn't it?
people it's like Barnum statements, isn't it? Where a medium or a psychic or what have you, not a medium or a psychic, but people that profess to be, will come out with a statement that could be applicable to lots and lots of people. And so,
Yeah.
for example, I think one that I was, for example, is you're a very good person, aren't you? But no, people don't realise it, and
Oh yeah, I am.
everybody thinks they're a good person,
Yeah.
but everybody don't thinks that they don't get the credibility for it, the
No.
credit for it, and so I think that's what happens is that you cut it like you can make it fit your ideals. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they, and I'm not. There's no arguing with that. I would agree
No.
with that, Kerry. Definitely, I would definitely agree with that. I think it is all about the positive. It's how you perceive things. That's all right. It's how you perceive things. And if you go out with a positive attitude, then no matter what happens, you're gonna see the positive side of it, or you're gonna
Yeah.
take something positive from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, see you soon. Have a nice time. Don't
See you
let Bigfoot
later.
run off with you. Watch out for the 411 missing people. Speak to you
Yeah.
soon. Don't want to see
You
you on
watch
a
that
David
Bigfoot.
Paulides show or book. See you soon. Miss you.
See you soon, Mother Goose.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Sorry, I'm just looking at these.
No, you're right, mate.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are impatient, Terry. And I
Well, we was
think
talking about it earlier, weren't
we
we?
were talking about this earlier. It's like people want something and they want it. It's like that quick gratification, isn't it?
It was like, I like to win the lottery, but he's just,
Yeah, exactly. It is. People do. They want it's a quick gratification, isn't it? They want
yeah,
it and they want it now. It's like you see on investigations, don't you? When you go out on an investigation and people are just starting to do it, and you know from experience that you can be sitting in a building for months and get very little, if anything,
yeah,
but then you'll get that one thing that makes it all worth it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
people not happy unless they get it right there and then, and of course they get disappointed when that
It
activity or
doesn't
that
happen. Yeah,
experience doesn't happen.
no.
Um,
But
and
like we're
that's
saying in the other shows, it's like because they watch it off telly, they go into a room and it's instant in your face, fill your pants up time. It's not going to happen like that.
and we know that 99.9% of that is fabricated.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just not real. It's not the reality.
No,
It's just something that has to be shown because
it's
they have a
TV.
quota to meet.
Exactly. Yeah.
They've got targets to hit, and
Yeah.
that's the way they do it, by lying. Yeah, no, we should talk to each other more, Claire. We really should talk to each other more. Yeah, I'm the same as you, Kerry. I pretend not to be, but I am. I think we all are. I think we
I've only
all
just
can
noticed
be.
that, Dan. We've got blue shirts on,
I
blue
noticed it earlier,
tops.
but I didn't want to say anything. It's a
What did
it's a
you?
club, isn't it? Viv's not getting one because she buggered off to America.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's people wanting immediate gratification, and life doesn't work like that. And Terry says, you have to be patient, and it does take time, as we've found out over the years.
I think everyone
Mm.
hasn't. They've had a quiet
Yeah,
time, but then
yeah.
that's when the negativity comes out. Oh, we're not doing this again. I'm not doing it. I'm not coming back here again.
Well, that's the thing as well. I mean,
you
I've
know?
noticed as well when I've done investigations, and there have been investigations where I've gone to a property and there's been activity. And I've noticed that if I've gone to a property, not all the time, but it's been consistent enough to realise there was a pattern there. When I've gone to a property or a venue, and I haven't got activity, you can guarantee that there's somebody there that is very negative,
Yeah.
and it's almost like that whatever is there has been pushed away.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I agree, Claire. It would be. And I think that's what happens, isn't it, with a lot of these properties that we investigate and places that we go. We don't experience anything because there are people there that are very, very negative.
Yeah.
You've seen it yourself over the years, Jay, haven't you?
Yeah, mate.
I mean, I've noticed lots and lots of teams that I've been in over the years. Not all of them, but you'll find one or two negative people in it. And it puts the kibosh on it. And
And
go on.
I think that if you're having a bad day and you go to a ghost hunt, I think that what drags you down as well. I think if you're having a bad day, then you go ghost hunting and you think, am I doing the right thing? Or do you know what I mean? I'm just going out for a day out. And
Yeah,
I think that sort of draws back out. They don't
yeah.
like that because they've got nothing to grip on.
Well,
The spirit haven't got nothing to grip onto
yeah, yeah. I mean, I
because
agree.
it's all,
I think
you
it
know,
is. You're right. It is a case. I think that reality is ethereal, isn't it? It's not.
yeah,
It's not a material thing. We can see things and we can touch things and we can. Everything that you see and you touch, you can smell and taste. Isn't really there as such.
no,
It is just vibrations.
yeah,
Everything is a vibration, or everything resonates on a different plane or a different platform, and
yeah,
when your mind then puts what's around
thoughts,
you into images, and then
yeah,
you perceive it. But yeah, I think it boils down to the reality of something, doesn't it? And if
mm,
it is like that, which I agree it is, then there probably is every chance that you could manifest something
yeah,
into reality. Yes, yeah,
mm,
definitely clear. Yeah, Well, you've seen it, Terry, haven't you? People are depressed or they're down, and which is why I always say, if you suffer with depression really, really badly, probably paranormal investigation is not the best thing for you,
No.
because even um, even if you're negative, I think what you'll do is you'll attract it to you, and then what happens is it'll attach to you, and it will just play on your mind,
Yeah.
and you don't know what you're going to take home with you. I mean, I had one. I went out on an investigation years ago. I wasn't particularly happy. Came back, and something had followed me back. The thing that followed me back wasn't negative. Well, it didn't feel negative, and it spoke to me while I was in bed, to the point where even Hazel heard it. And
Oh,
it was a
really?
little girl, and she said to me, are you awake now?"
A
And it
little
was
girl was that?
little girl. It was
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 in the morning, and it was right next to me. And I just got into bed from the ghost hunt, pulled the covers over, and then the little voice said, are you awake now?"
Wow.
And it was just purely and simply because I've been negative and I hadn't closed down, and I think I'd attracted that to me, you know. But yeah, and that's why you see people that if you're suffering with depression, then it's probably not the best place for you on an
No.
investigation, I don't think,
I think, or
because
any medical like that type of stuff, isn't it? Because if, like you said, if you're in a down day, the spirit will attach to it. Like you said, they will take you home. If you can't deal with it, that's going to fry your brain even more. You
well,
know,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
that's going to.
I even had it, didn't I? I was talking about it the other day when I did that cottage. That it was 1,000 years old, this
Yeah.
cottage, and I wasn't in a bad mood, but I just wasn't. I wasn't in the swing of things.
Yeah.
And then that evening, whatever it was came back to me, and it felt like I was fully wide awake, but it felt like I was having an out of body experience. It was really weird,
Really.
really, really weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like I wasn't. My body was moving, but I was moving
With
seconds
it,
before it.
so you was drunk, but not. If you
Yeah,
know
I
what I
was.
mean.
Well,
Yeah.
it was even weirder than that. It was a situation where I was. So for example, I got up and went to the bathroom.
Yep.
I'd get up, I'd go to the bathroom,
Mhm.
but I'd be up before my body was.
Yeah, I see what you say.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was like I'd got
Yeah.
up and then my body got up, and it was really weird. And it affected me so badly that I couldn't leave the bedroom for about 3 days.
Wow.
It
How did you
terrified
get
me.
it
It
sorted out?
terrified me. The only time I went to leave the bedroom was to go and have a shower or use the bathroom, and
Yeah.
that was it.
How did you get rid
Um,
of it, or who helped you out?
it just went. It just
Oh, it
went.
went.
It just went. Yeah, can believe that, Barry.
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get a
yeah,
gut
yeah.
feeling.
It is really odd, isn't it? Um, I did an investigation some years ago, and there was me and 2 other people. One of them's passed on themselves now. A really good friend of mine. I miss them dearly. But she passed on, and she was meant to go on an investigation with me. And she said, like, she phoned me up. I was outside the investigation, waiting for the guy to turn up. And she phoned me up and said, I can't go. Can't go, we can't go. She went, because I've got a really bad feeling about the investigation.
Yeah.
And the guy, I did it on my own in the end. I did the investigation on my own. The guy left me
Yeah.
on my own to my own device, and I did the investigation. But I did come away from it feeling like crap. I felt really bad. But whether that was psychosomatic or
Was you because you was feeling from your friend, like your friends, like, oh, I
yeah,
ain't
it
been
put me on a
here.
bit of a downer. I mean, I understood. Somebody gets a feeling but like Terry, when something pushes me to not go, I
You
tend
don't do it.
to go. I tend to want to go because
You
it's
want
like,
to go
well,
because that's what
why,
you thrive
why,
for, isn't it?
yeah, why are you
Yeah.
trying to stop me? And if there's something that's going to be incredible that's going to happen, I want to be there
You want to be there. Yeah.
when it happens.
Mm.
Um, I'm not saying I'm braver than anybody else. I'm certainly not. I'm not saying I'm a
No,
big tough guy, because I'm not.
no,
But it's just that's your quest, isn't it? And if
yeah,
that's what your quest is, that's
yeah,
what you want to
exactly.
do.
Mm.
But yeah, Terry's right. I mean, ghost investigations. I've had 3 things go wrong this year that have sort of stopped me from going to an investigation. One was the foot breaking, two breakdowns
Two
with
cars.
the car, and it kind of left me high and dry. And but had I have had other options, I would have still gone,
Yeah,
because it would have been a case of,
I would have gave you a backie on my bike.
we could have, yeah, it could have been like a big fat ET. You could put me in a basket on the front. Never take off to the moon though. Yeah, it's because she's with you, Barry. You see.
Yeah, but I always think if you think about people as well, like you said, they'll come through.
Oh, bless him. Oh, blimey, he was quite a young man, wasn't he, Clear?
Wow.
Oh, bless him. That's sad.
Mm.
Young guy. It's really weird, isn't it, how people get these portents?
Yeah.
They get these ideas. I've had a couple of them over the years where I've kind of foreseen. I'm not a psychic or a medium, but I think it's just a connection. If you've got a connection that's deep with somebody or something, and if anything's going to happen, I think you'll pick up on it.
Yeah.
But it is odd. But as Barry was saying, yeah, Barry, I've got a friend of mine who passed away, and I believe that he was standing behind me in the kitchen some time back, which was nice. Yeah, it's but those things are to be cherished, Barry.
Yeah, you got to cherish them,
Those
haven't
things
you?
should be cherished. I don't think that people go that far personally when they shuffle off this mortal coil. I think that they're right there with you.
Mm.
If anything, I think this is probably the place that we're not meant to be.
Yeah,
This is the
exactly.
place where we're not. This is not really. This is the place where we're not at home. Not in that sense, anyway. It's hard the year before 40 years. Oh, that's awful, Clear. Bless him.
Mm. It's,
That's awful. So sorry.
that
Really
was
sorry.
due to COVID, was it?
Just a heart attack.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a double XL, Harry.
I'm an XL, so we're all
You're
right,
an
boys.
XL. But yeah, no, it's oh, that's good.
Hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, you get these portents, don't you? You get these when you're close to somebody or something.
Yeah.
Again, it's like it's thought forms, isn't it? It's a different wavelength. It resonates on a different platform.
Yeah.
You pick up these energies, and and it's all to do. Oh, 6 days of COVID.
Mm.
Do you know what Oh dear. Oh bloody! So it's weakened him. My mum used to always say, she used to have a saying, Terry, that obviously, like being a nurse, and she's seen a lot of that people rally. She used to say they rally before they
The
die.
rally.
They
Yeah.
rally. So they get. I mean, my dad when he was passing away, and he was in intensive care, and we were up there with him. We knew he was really ill. We didn't know how bad. We got an idea that he weren't going to come home. And I remember he was jumping out of bed and he was trying to get away. And my mum said he's trying to run away from death.
Right. Yeah, he was
That's what he's doing.
scared
He's
of it.
trying to
Yeah.
run away from death. He's trying to get away. But then after a day, not even that, a few hours, kind of settled into it. And accepted it, I think. And it seemed like he was happy because he saw his mother there and he saw his friends there and what have you.
Yeah.
So he was quite happy. But it is a strange thing. It is. It is like the one last rally before, don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
And always people say that if you see a robin, they always say it's a family member, don't they?
They do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always say if you've been married with someone for so many years, like 60 years, that if someone goes, the next person, it's like a pair of swans, isn't it?
It's exactly it. It's that connection, isn't it? It's that sort of bond that they've got with each other. I mean, my dad died. My mum died a couple of years later.
Yeah.
And people really do. They do.
And they
die
give up,
of
don't they?
broken
They
heart.
totally give up,
What do you mean fading, Kerry? Like maybe as you're getting older, he feels that you don't need him that much.
Here's
You
that
don't
more,
need him
yeah.
as much.
He won't be fading. He'll always be there with you.
Yeah,
all the time.
It's the thing, Barry. Yeah, we don't know. It's a really odd. Yeah, I don't think they don't fade. I think that they're all, even if you can't see them, they're there. They're there all the time, even if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing, Kerry. Horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they don't fade. They don't. I mean,
they never fade, do they?
No,
I don't think.
No, I think when you see spirits or you see energies that they say, "Well, I can see through it." I think that what you're actually seeing is you're probably seeing a replay. You're probably seeing something that has been recorded, which I call a ghost. A ghost to me is a recording, whereas a living energy, an intelligent energy, is a spirit.
Yes.
And I think that that's what happens when people see things they can see through. I think what they're looking at is they're looking at a recording, and over time,
it will come as a
tend to fade and tend to.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It might be completely wrong, but that's just what it means to me. But as for people's spirit, no, they don't fade. They're there all the time.
All the time.
They're there all the time. And there's so much more that we don't know about this world. And there's so many. It's more questions than answers, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's there, Kerry.
I think he is, Kerry, to be fair. He's probably with you all the time.
I'm sure he's there. Yeah, that's awful, isn't it? I don't feel my mum or my dad around me at all, but I know they're there.
Yeah.
I know they're there.
Mum believes if she's listening to the radio in the kitchen and a song comes on,
Terry. And it's true, isn't it? More questions, then answers, then more belief. Every answer, or you think the answer, throws up more questions. You're right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel my parents are around me. I mean, I do now, very, very rarely, but when I have, but I don't really now. But they're still there. They're there, Kerry. I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. They do say, don't they, that the messages can be so discreet that we don't, and we're kind of
you don't click onto
ham-fisted. We don't realise what they're so discreet.
Yeah.
That we don't pick up on it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
you go. It's amazing, isn't it? But yeah, they're there. I don't think they move on. They don't move that far from us.
no,
But
definitely
it's
not.
thought form, isn't it? Everything out there is a thought. Everything basically boils down to the mind. The mind itself, I mean, the human brain is a material object as far as material is in this world.
Mm.
But the mind itself is like the universe. There's no end to it. There's no beginning. It's just there, and
No,
it's a massive expanse
and
of
plus
energy.
it's very powerful as well, isn't it? The mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, radio. That's what I was saying.
And that's oh, you're welcome, Kerry. I'm sure he's there. I'm sure he's there with that. You know,
He's,
I
I
believe it
promise me,
completely.
he is.
Completely. They never go that far from their loved ones. They never do. But yeah, it's yeah. The human mind is it's a vast. It's got no boundaries. It's like the universe. There's no beginning. There's no end. It just is.
Yeah,
Everything else that we perceive to be material is ethereal. But because we got the right vibrations or the right frequencies, then we can manifest it into what we see around us.
yeah,
And if you look at it like that, then clearly you can do anything almost.
yeah.
We don't, Terry. We don't. We really don't. I think that, to be honest, I think that we do realize the only time we realize the power of it is when it's there on its own, when we've left the body. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll ever get the proper answers. I think the only time we'll get those answers is when we pass over.
When we go over
Yeah,
ourselves.
I think
Yeah.
that's it. And I
I
do
tell you, if
think
I
that
go
probably
before
life
you, mate,
lessons.
I'm going to scare the
When we
hoovies
go
out
out
of
ghost hunting, when we go out doing paranormal
you.
investigations, the spirits are taking the mick
Yeah,
because they're like, there you go, there you go. Yeah, that they're taking the mick out of you, don't you? But they're thinking to themselves, they haven't got a clue what they've got to come. These idiots, and
no,
they're
that's
running
it.
around with all their equipment that doesn't do anything,
Yeah.
thinking they've got all the answers and they haven't.
Mm,
But yeah, it's an interesting subject.
it is.
But I mean, you've seen a few spirits yourself, haven't you, Jeremy?
I have, yeah.
And you got that photo of one, didn't you, of the guy at the fit where you were fishing the other day?
I was going fishing, yeah. There was a track, and it didn't feel right. Felt like I was getting watched, and so I went to the entrance, like the main entrance of the fish, and I thought I'll take some pictures because he was on the track. He was following me up the track, so it
Yeah,
was
well, that's
just
quite a
quite
good photo
weird.
you got of him, wasn't it?
Sorry,
That was quite a good photo that you took.
yeah.
It's
And then I spoke to Viv
and
about
that
it.
can only be, and that's a feeling, wasn't it? And that's obviously you got a psychic and stuff, but
Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it? That's ethereal. That's put into your mind that you need to look there or take a photo there.
yeah, exactly,
It's not,
yeah.
yeah,
And I wasn't even thinking about, seeing some spirit or go ghost hunting. I was only going fishing for the day. I was thinking about catching some fish. I
yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't on my mind or whatever.
Yes, yeah. I think we've said that before, you and I, Terry, haven't we? We've said that there's some sort of unwritten code there. It's like Beetlejuice, isn't it? When he's got the book of the afterlife, and there's codes, there's like rules and regulations you have to
Beetlejuice, yeah,
adhere to, and it's like that. We've said it ourselves, Terry, haven't we? That it's like they can't. There's some they're not allowed to, for whatever reasons, they're not allowed to give you answers to certain questions.
yeah. But I think
You know,
that's the only picture I've got though, Dan, of a spirit.
yeah, it's a good picture though.
Mm, yeah.
It's a good, clear picture.
Mm,
Um, and we find that a lot, don't we? That there are some specific questions that they plead the fifth on. They just
yeah.
won't give you any answers or any kind of indication.
No.
Whereas some of them they answer quite happily. But I've spent years of being effed and blinded out, and called all the things. Yeah, but that's what we do, Terry, because that's
You
what we do,
do,
isn't
because
it?
you'd like it, didn't you?
That's what we do. That's our life, isn't it? That's what we do. We enjoy it. We love
It's one
it,
of your hobbies, isn't it?
and
So,
that's what we choose. Yeah, exactly. And long may it continue, mate. You
definitely.
know. But yeah, it's interesting. It is an interesting subject, and yeah, the more questions you ask, the more answers you think you get, the more questions
Yeah,
come up
exactly.
out
Yeah.
of it. You know. Um,
It's vice versa, though, isn't it? More questions you ask, things that you want to see, isn't it, or do, kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. But it is all to do with the mind. I think it's all connected to the mind. It's all connected to the material, isn't it? It's all.
Yeah.
It probably would. It probably would. And maybe when we pass, all of a sudden, all them answers that we get, we're like, oh yeah, we knew this before.
They'll come
And
in
so
for
it
a
might not
puzzle.
be
It'll
such a big culture shock,
be like
you
deja
know?
vu, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's just like this is exactly it. It maybe is meant to be that way. I'm sure it is. I'm sure
Yeah.
it is. And I'm sure that there are people on this plane, in our plane, people that are living and breathing. I'm sure there are some of them out there that know a lot more than they're letting on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more out there. There's people out there that know exactly what's going on. They know exactly
Yeah,
the
of
truth
course they
behind
do.
the truth behind this reality.
But they're not clocking on, are they?
No, because they won't. They won't, will they? Because obviously, if you got the answers, you got the power, haven't you?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? When you give those answers away, all of a sudden you're giving your power away.
Yeah.
And if you know the answers, then you can manipulate the game.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
God, I sound like a conspiracy theorist now.
Yeah,
I sound like I
definitely.
lost it. But yeah,
Lost the plot.
I've lost it years ago, mate. I don't even think I had it, to be honest with you. Yeah.
What, losing the plot?
Lost the plot. But no, it is an interesting subject, and when
I think
Viv
it
comes
is.
back, we can delve more into it. You know,
Yeah.
but she's away at the minute, hobnobbing it in the United States.
Yeah, and there's us too. Keeping the shop alive.
That's true. That's true. Only conspiracy. Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of conspiracies that have turned out to be quite true, really, lately, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting subject. So, what have you got? What's it? Do you know what I do as well? But you know why I keep setting them off, Terry? Because I got metal in my shoulder where I had surgery. I got like big chunks of metal in my shoulder, so it keeps setting off scanners and stuff.
Obviously, do you tell them before when you go through the scanners, or
No,
do you just let them?
no, I let them down. Go, what's that? Just like it's my arm, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know. But
Do you tell them how it happened?
no,
No.
I just tell them I got beat up by a ghost.
You got to prove it though.
Got duffed up by a ghost. How am I going to prove it?
Yeah, exactly.
But Viv's back next week, so
yeah.
I don't know if we got a guest on next week. I'm not sure, but Viv will be back, and yeah, that all should be good.
We'll just hear the stories from a trip to America, I think.
Yeah, I don't believe in that, Kerry. I don't believe in the flat Earth thing.
I read that wrong. I thought it said flat pack.
Said what? Said what?
Flat pack. You know, you could do a flat pack.
I don't believe in IKEA.
No.
Yeah, that's a bit stretched too far for me with some people to. Yeah. I think the most silly argument I've ever heard from it was a guy said that what happens is Earth's got to be flat because if it was round, when you got
Oh,
to
don't
Australia,
start this.
the plane would be upside down,
Oh,
and you would
yeah.
and you would fall off the planet, and it's like, what?
What are you on, mate? Yeah.
No, yeah, no, that's it's more than I can do. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not Kerry. No, I haven't heard of anybody falling off either, Terry, or falling onto it.
Yeah.
They make you laugh though because they turn around and they say, "Well, you know, the planet's round. It's at the bottom of the planet." Well, there is no up or down in space, is there?
No, it's only
It's
up.
just space, isn't it? And a ball in the middle of it
Yeah.
all. So there is no up or down.
There's
You
enough
know,
all
it
that.
depends on where you're coming from.
Well, that's if you're going back to Earth. You're coming down, aren't you? But you can.
Yeah, I think that to me, I think that's all madness. But you know,
Crazy, isn't it?
I'm open to be proven wrong.
Yeah, me too, mate.
You know, if people prove me wrong, that's fine. It's fine. Right, guys, I think we're going to wrap up for this evening. And Vivi will be back. Viv will be back. Viv will be back next week.
Oh, Vivi.
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 Aunt Vivi will be back next week. Yeah. Viv will be back next week. And she'll be showing snaps of her holiday in America. To be fair, she's been out there working because she's been out there at a conference, a paranormal conference.
Yeah, I saw
And
that
so,
radio thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so we'll meet her when she gets off the plane. We'll meet her and we'll go down her bag, see what presents she's brought us back.
Loads of sweets.
Loads of sweets. Mug her at the airport.
Yeah, that's it. Are you going to pick her up, are you?
No, but I'll be there because I want presents.
You want to eat all the sweets.
He didn't. Do you know what, Terry? He didn't know, did he? He just stayed in the bar and then made out that he'd gone round the planet. Exactly. And when you're up in a plane, Kerry, you can see can't you, the camber of the Earth? You can see how it falls away. So yeah. Right, everybody. Thank you ever so much for this evening.
Thank you, guys.
And what we'll do, we will speak to you next week. Viv should be back next week. She'd better be back next week. Otherwise, the crap is going to hit the fan. And me and Jav decided we're going to take a fortnight off, and Viv can run the whole thing.
Yeah, that's it. We've done all right, though, mate.
It is all right when it was all right.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Take care, Kerry.
Take care, Kerry.
Take care, everybody. We will speak to you next week. Look out for yourselves. Look after yourselves. Guys. Take care, and don't do anything I wouldn't do, which doesn't really leave a lot. So we will speak to you next week. Take it easy, guys.
Take care, guys. Bye.